Yes, you have some people, right? They're saying to you, stick with the program. Stick with the program. Even when the program isn't working. You have to wonder to yourself sometimes, well, are they programmed? Well, they have to be programmed. Because obviously, every time you're punching in the same digit, the same dial, well, you're getting the same response, which is not the one that it says that it would give. So you can see that the program, it's broken. It's not just frozen, it's busted. It's entirely, completely broken. And it ain't fixable. Certainly not in the context of what it is. That's why it's broken. It ground itself into this slow, timeless stop. And there's so much people still believing in it. When I was young growing up, I said to myself, wow, I gladly took the ideas they gave me of life, except the God part. I was just, I just sort of struggled with the God part, what they told me there. But so I had too much questions from early on. I guess the enemy was working from very early on in me. But I love the programming, right? I emulated a lot of the heroes that they gave me, because guess what? You wanted to be like somebody, right? So who did you want to be like? I like Flash Gordon. And the idea of being able to run like, 10,000 miles an hour. That was like, you wouldn't even see me because I was so concerned with, not being seen. Because, they make you feel minuscule, right? Because that was the programming, you know. Certainly it didn't go along with what they said. So the programming was you were to grow up to be somebody important, special, unique, and beautiful in all your carbon ways, right? So I emulated a few that I thought were heroes, right? People who could really teach me the program. But unfortunately, what I recognized somewhere in my teenage years, I must be honest about this, it was like I figured this out before, that a lot of that energy was just false, it was just wrong. And as such, I had to start undo the program. Boy, did I suffer for undoing the program. Because when you're that young and don't know what to program, when you have undone the present program, well, complexes. There's a particular individual that I met during the stage of me trying to definitely be programmed. And I have to give props, to, Prendy, because Prendergast really is an honorable person that really showed me the dignity, of the true self while you're breaking out of the programming. So let's continue a little bit more of the programming. So all right, one of the big programming was, well, I wanted to be a lecturer because that was always like thrown around in the circle, like, for a kid who's that smart, you got to find a way to correlate that information and, that's a nice job. So that was the programming. The original content, I just wanted to do like oratory and music. And so interesting that I'm doing that now. I wanted to chat a lot. And I was like, and sing. I didn't have no key. Literally, I had no key. So some people said they were off key. There was no key, zero key, right? So let's just say it was torturing for people in the early stages who were growing up with me, wanting to do that. But give thanks that I was so recluse. So I tried it in my own time, but then people would find me, and it was very weird when they did, because I just felt so, exposed. And you never felt comfortable. So when the program began breaking down, I recognized that most of my fellow young males were basically, in Jamaica we say, breeding off a lot of the young ladies. They were getting a lot of girls pregnant. Sex had become like, from our children, sex was like a major topic, but like in 18, 19, it became this wild frontier. And my program began to break down. At that point, I began to now care. Like, no, I want to understand myself. I want to know why I'm with this woman. Why, and that wasn't working too well. So therefore, I couldn't be in the pop culture because all that sexual bodies gyrating, the fat, curvy ladies, even the cute little tiny ones just gyrating. I couldn't, appreciate or have any sense of respect for that because, my mind was saying to me that was what was causing a lot of the problems in the situations of life because that seemed like it had no real moral sort of basis to it, right? It seemed like all the young men them and the young girls I knew weren't really trying to care about why they were here on earth, why they were in life, or why they should choose a particular path. That was very much my concern. But the breaking out of the program was that they basically taught you in the programming to emulate a character. And when I saw my character breaking down, I said to myself, I had to, go to church. And when I was at church, I saw that the church was a reinforcement in terms of the structure of another particular type of character because they have a character of how the righteous man should act and operate. And I didn't feel comfortable in the physicalization. I'm not saying that in the spiritual because when you say this, sometimes people say, well, moral. So I'm not talking about the morality. I'm not talking about the ethics of it. I'm talking about the physicality and the appearance of the individual. I didn't agree that the appearance was right. And listen, let me tell you something. You see this thing about shaving face and ear, let me tell you something. You see me personally, me, sorry, Father. You see me personally, don't bring that to me. No disrespect. Don't ever bring that to me. So I don't care too much for anyone who wants to tell me that their identity is based in controlling facial hair and the hair that grows on their head. Especially males saying that they cut it and it is appropriately groomed. Listen, you're free to keep any opinion you want. But certain things like that don't swim with me. Matter of fact, you don't even fly with me. So I'm not talking about swim. You don't even fly with me. So I don't play that. So when I saw that a lot of that self-image was a programming, just like the European taskmasters, I was not impressed by that. That didn't seem anything biblical or sacred to me or godly or anything natural. That's just mentality. And especially, I would say that is prejudice mentality. And I would say against nature. So it's not even like a color base. That is prejudice against nature. And I would say the most unnatural societies are the ones who behave that manner. Just look at the people who love nature. A man's facial hair is just nature. So what's the big deal? Right? And to cut here, but why is it a requirement that the so-called grooming has to be a certain way? Anyway, so I said, breaking out of the program. Ming. So when I started breaking out of the programming, obviously people gonna say you're crazy. Because they don't see that a sane person can want to appear as themselves. Right? So when I saw it never that work, I'm gonna say, yo, this can't match to where me is. In the church setting, I got baptized a second time. To risk being baptized a third time, I said, listen, it's always going that I'm going to be a particular way in my outlook. So I need to find my own path. And that took me along the road to eventually meet up with Rastafari. And that's how some of the identity issues began to balance out themselves. Right? Treading back on the fullness with Christ, it's like it makes complete self a full circle me forward. And it goes back to the reality, say, after break out of the programming. That is very, 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 very essential. You have to break out of the programming. Especially when it's not working. You're pressing these buttons of identity, of behavior that you see aren't bringing you peace of mind. Never brought your grandparents or your great-grandparents, and it's certainly not going to bring you. Right? So you have to know to break out of the programming. Because if you're not, you're just programmed. Something when I realize that, people are saying, oh, they want the system to change or this to change. Well, understand